Hey there guys, Howie here. Long time no see. I want to start this video with an apology for the lack of content in the first part of this year. I've been attending uni again, trying my hand at school teaching, when I realised, no, I have a greater purpose. I could use my intellect to shape the young minds of the future, indirectly solve the problem of global warming or something like that, or I could use it to make whiny videos about gaming bullshit on the internet, so of course I'm going to do that one. You might call this video a little bit late, but the game isn't out yet, so as far as I'm concerned, this topic is fair game. I have a deep, childlike love for Star Wars, and it's second only to The Lord of the Rings on my personal list of cinematic favourites. Why is that? Well, lightsabers. Lots of other reasons too, but I feel that lightsabers are enough to sell it. More than enough. The universe that George Lucas created permeates our culture. It is seriously so massive. I don't think any other franchise has been merchandised and expanded to the level that the galaxy far away has been. Toys, films, cartoons, books, replicas, of course, video games. When I heard there was a new Star Wars Battlefront coming, I, like almost everyone else, lost my shit. I want to make it clear that I am not one to judge a title before it comes out. I really want this one to be a killer game, and all this video is an analysis of the information we've already been given so far. The hype train had me at first, admittedly, and I was ready to throw my money down in less than 12 parsecs. But whoa there. Let's back off a bit, and have a careful look at the clues we've been given. I desperately want this game to be a good one, let me just get that out there again. I have no desire for it to be a disappointment in any way. I love Star Wars, as well as the well-established Battlefront formula, but I'm scared, and I'm skeptical, and I'm absolutely devoid of trust. This brings me to my first point, trust, in Electronic Arts. I don't have any at this point. Gross, messy launches like SimCity and Battlefield 4, the homogenization and the introduction of the minefield of microtransactions in one of my favourite horror franchises, Dead Space, the same in the multiplayer for Dragon Age Inquisition, the almost systematic reaping of small studios, the gall, at any point, to talk seriously about charging for dicking bullets used in games, what the shit EA, and finally, the insulting, shitty, cynical, absolutely unacceptable spill of watered down shit and piss that is Dungeon Keeper Mobile. Ugh. Now, there's a lot more, but I've just listed some of the better known examples and more personally offensive ones, and I think it gets my point across. So there's my first point. EA have been, and still probably are, a bunch of greedy, shit-headed wankers. Now, point number 2, and not everyone will agree, this awesome, beautiful, mouth-wateringly well choreographed trailer is heavily scripted. It's scripted as shit. Seriously, anyone who thinks that this trailer is realistically representative of gameplay, you're positively drowning in the unfortunate swill that is your naivete. This trailer takes place in the same engine, but is not a gameplay trailer. This wouldn't be an issue. I wouldn't be worried if we didn't have mounds of historical evidence that tells us that we are very likely to get dicked over by a big, rich developer that doesn't give a wanking toss. Big titles like Watch Dogs and shitty, pus-filled, low-fidelity boils of games like Aliens Colonial Marines have shown us that we can't really trust anyone. Now, these aren't games from Electronic Arts, but as we've learned, if another company does something shitty to get an extra few pre-orders, a bit of extra dough, EA won't hesitate to jump in and coat their hands with the same sticky crap. I'm sure it will look good, but I can almost guarantee that riding a speeder bike through the forest will not look like this. You'll be banging into trees and exploding all over the place. We don't know for sure what the game is actually going to look like in action. We don't know exactly what content will be available at launch, and in spite of this, we are already having ads pushing pre-order bonuses and digital special editions of upwards of $100 because of course we do. Now, here's the bit that might get me into a bit of trouble. The prequels. I actually like them. Sure, they're not as good as the original films, but I still enjoy watching a pod race or an intergalactic clone battle now and again. I like double-ended saber staffs as much as the next guy, and I think the movies actually have a lot of worth. Even Jar Jar Binks is just sort of there. Whether you agree with me on that or not, and many people do not, you have to see it as a bit of a bummer that the new Battlefront game isn't going to have any Clone Wars content whatsoever, as far as we know. With that, and fairly well substantiated rumours that space battles aren't going to be included in the main game, I'll look forward to dropping another $30 on that, thanks. the whole thing is beginning to sound very limited. I've heard people state that they'd rather EA focus on getting ground battles right instead of rushing to get the game out of the door with space battles included. But screw that, says I. I'd even take a delay in the launch of a game as highly anticipated as this, rather than see it suffer from a lack of content. And on that point, you should surely agree, the absence of Clone Wars era gameplay elements and space battles is a lack of widely desired content, whether or not you personally like those elements of the films. Check out this table here, made by a fan, detailing the differences in content between this new title and the last. It's bloody miserable. To me, it truly stinks of the greedy, cynical, we don't give a fuck as long as we getting paid, DLC pushing attitude that big time developers have been rolling with these past few years. Oh, and there's only going to be 12 maps at launch, so be ready to open those wallets again a few months down the road. My views about this hopefully very successful and satisfying game might seem jaded and cynical, however I am a product of my time and my experiences. And in the last few years, I, like so many other gamers, have experienced the very worst that the AAA game industry can plop onto our eager faces like so many steaming digital shits. I already love what this game could be. I just think that the signs we've been shown so far are more than a little concerning, and the whole thing stinks of the disappointments of the past. It might turn out to be good, I really hope it does. I'm not claiming it's definitely going to be shit. I'm not even saying you shouldn't get hyped. Go on, get hyped. Just that you should pull back. Just a bit, pull back. And look at this with a little bit of objectivity. I just don't trust EA. But hey, maybe this one will give my opinions a push in the opposite direction. And perhaps they will give the license the respect it deserves and not make a DLC selling mess that turns out to be total pants. If not though, well, I guess the point of this video is I called it. At any rate, at least we have this to look forward to, and it looks bloody amazing.
Chewie, we're home.